After this, we might actually have to have a playoff for third. I don't know how the tiebreaker is going to work. I know first and second has basically been determined with this match, but based on the tie-breaking mechanism. So now the question comes: we have to see how it breaks down for third, because we might have to have a single match elimination to figure out who the true third player is.
Alright, they're starting.
Yep. No, this is going to be interesting. Since
Mage Druid.
I know this is like the match you want to have if you're Druid, and yet Curi usually.
Monk is like the original Druid. Because he started playing Druid in tournaments even before like Strife Crow. Like even when Mage was still like really powerful, Monk like invented the counter Druid deck. With like the crap ton of healing and stuff. So this deck that Curi is playing actually does really well against Druid. He's gonna do the thing where he summons like mountain giants and then gives them taunt.
True, but if this is the build that you mentioned before that doesn't run Pyroblast, Druid has a lot of late game too, so there's no just guaranteed win in this.
Yeah, but like with all the big minions that Curi's gonna be playing, it's gonna favor him, I think, because Druids have a hard time dealing with large minions. Similar to the Warlock Giants that we saw before in the Puffin vs. Curi match.
True, and you can actually see in that exchange, like Curi's like, haha, my mage will counter your Druid, so Curi is feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, they're talking about in the old meta, the healing Druid countered the burn mage with like pyro and stuff. But this giant mage counters Druid because of what I said before, how they struggle with large guys.
Absolutely. Because no one runs naturalized, so
I played against Strife Crow, who was using this deck Curi is playing right now yesterday for like 10 games, and it's so frustrating to play against. Because they just get these like humongous giants out and you can't do anything. And then he has like mind control tech, which can be annoying too.
True,
he hasn't drawn the giants yet though.
True, however, mind control tech will not be a factor since it obviously just got killed by Keeper of the Grove. I mean, and it still is important to play stuff when you have it.
Yeah. I mean, tossing out as a 3/3 is whatever. It's fine. But that minion really shines, because usually what happens is you wait 4 turns and then play the mountain giant on turn 4. And then by that time, they'll have flooded the field. So you play the mind control tech as a follow-up, and it'll steal some random minion, and then you start bashing them with the giant. But he hasn't drawn the giant yet, so he's actually in a bit of a bad shape, because he's getting rushed down by the charger. I don't know if he should freeze this. I think he should draw cards.
Oh, he's going to Doomsaber now. I mean, I understand the desire to stop that damage, but Druid is just going to get bigger later.
I mean, 6 damage is about the least you can... It's like the minimum that's going to come out of the Druid. And he could have got more value out of the Doomsayer next turn, I think.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you there. I definitely feel that was a next turn play, and especially since this runs Molten Giant, going down isn't necessarily a terrible thing either. Like, losing 6 more health there just makes it another option of something you can play, you know? So...
The biggest issue for me is that he just needs to draw into his big guys. Like, if he doesn't start playing giants, he's just going to get run over with no threats on the board. Okay, so he's got one down now. Oh, he can't even play it though. That's crappy.
Wow, he's so short. He's just short. Well, I mean, there is a case to be made for novice engineer. Maybe play so ice block. Okay, I would have probably played the novice engineer.
I think he made the right choice. It's the ice block at 3 mana is awkward to get out later on, and it also makes the druid have to take into account that it might be mirror image.
Right, and he just taunted him with mirror and it. Mirror
Yeah,
ending.
he's like trolling him now. Like it's obviously ice block now that he's trolling, but but like normally, like some mages do slip in mirror entities in their deck just because they know everybody assumes it's ice block. Like that's happened to me before, and I've lost games because of it. Just like spamming a ladder game.
And I've lost games to that too because yeah, it is just a normal assumption now to think, oh yeah, ice block or vaporize, whatever, one of those two. It's like mirror entity. Oh shit, yeah, that's an option too. Right now,
So I think
card was definitely the right play.
I think what he does now is play the giant and then just crossbolts the 5/5.
Yeah, that's probably the safest play. And it forces him to deal with the 8/8, which there is no easy way to deal with it.
Hold on, my dog's barking.
It adds more excitement.
I'll just try to have some like leap mute micro whenever she starts barking.
Wow, playing blood. Wow. To get that extra point of damage so he can ping kill it next turn, that's really nice.
Yeah. So the druid's in now where he has to either kill that with spells right now or play a bunch of taunt minions. Because he's going to get smashed in the face over and over again if he leaves that there.
What are your thoughts about running a naturalized just for this case? Or do you think it's better to just have the big game?
I think naturalize is good. Because the cards that you would use naturalize on, you're going to get 2-for-1 to buy anyway. So, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you might as well spend 1 mana to get 2-for-1 than spend like your entire turn getting 2-for-1.
Although right here, this is going to get nasty.
Yeah, Sylvanas ruined his day. I think you just throw down the Novice Engineer.
I was thinking you had to kind of Blizzard to wipe the board. Because while you got the Blood Mage power, it will kill 2 things with 1 card. So you get a 2-for-1 out of the Blizzard. And you could still play the Novice Engineer.
I would probably... I would probably just run the Blood Mage Thalnos into the 6/2, and then run the play the Novice Engineer, and then run the Giant into Sylvanas, and pray for the 50/50 that it takes the Novice instead of the Giant. And if it does take the Giant, you can use Blizzard afterwards. Or Frostbolt. I think that's what we'll see him do.
If you true, yeah, because if you use the Giant and Sylvanas takes the Giant and you Blizzard, that works. That works. Though if you Blizzard and it grabs the Blood Mage, you still pretty much you wipe everything with the ping.
He's gonna play the Novice for sure. That's like the only good play he has here. If I was him, I would definitely run the Thalnos into the 6/2 first. I would not do this. Oh god. Oh god, he just gave the Druid a card. It's that card draw right there that he just gave away was way too important, I think. Like, I understand wanting to keep the Giant, but it's only at 2 HP. Like, it's not that big of a deal. No, I think I would have rather had the card.
I do agree that it's not a make or break decision, but that's kind of like where I was leaning too, because you could wipe it anyway. But yes, that card when you're already down on cards is is kind of nasty, but you do still have strong board presence. You are still forcing him to deal with the giant. There's a case to be made that it wasn't a bad play. It could have obviously been a lot better if he did not get Blood Mage. And there was a chance that he didn't get Blood Mage, you know?
Yeah, there was a chance, but I would have rather just gone for the 50-50 because he used Blizzard anyway. So I would have just taken the card, went for the 50-50 that it got Novice, and if it got the Giant, like he used Blizzard anyway, so it would have killed the Giant off, and he would have got the extra card. Because this Giant is pretty much as good as dead anyway, I think.
True. And then you would have wiped everything and then sort of had a Novice Engineer.
That was not what I expected. I think if you're Curi, you just Blizzard.
Wow, he's going for
Okay, well that's fine too, I
total
guess.
damage. Interesting.
He could have also Blizzarded and just smashed the face.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because of Swipe, Starfall. There's lots of options that basically kill those 3 cards anyway. So
I think
don't
we'll see a Starfall come out.
exactly. I don't feel strong against the Druid when I only have like 2 health minions on the board. They're just too fragile.
Is he gonna double swipe Rag?
Oh my god, that'd be so Gosu.
Oh jeez, I think the Mage has Ice Block up still, and he's got a Molten Giant, so he's not out.
True, he's definitely not out, but I mean that's exactly
what Monk needed. You're right.
Yep. And that's why I was saying, like, when you have those 2 health minions and there's a swipe potential, like, I mean, double swipe, oh my god, that was just the perfect
Or even just
cards.
like Thalnos or Wild Pyro is not uncommon either. Like, there's lots of ways he could have dealt with that.
And now the fact that he has 2 minions that come back even if you wipe them, like, Curi needs this. Oh wow, and Monk is actually he realized
scared to attack.
The build. Yep. He knows the build. He's like, if I attack him, I'm going to face the giant next turn, so I'm probably just going to leave him at 20 and then just kill him in 1 turn. That is brilliant if he doesn't fall for it. You know what I'm saying? If he does
Can't though, because of Ice Block. You can't kill him in 1 turn.
No,
you have to just wait till you can deal. Like the way I would approach it is if my hand can deal with a Molten Giant or potentially 2 Molten Giants, then I would just go for it. But if I can't, then I would hold off.
You could still do 2 here and still feel pretty comfortable because a Mountain Giant costing 8 mana is still not going to allow that much. So you could still just chip away, but not do 6. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Like, he could, but I don't know. He'd still be able to cast the Molten Giant. Basically, that's all it would come down to for me is if my hand can deal with an 8/8 right now or not. Because he can't kill him in 1 turn anyway because of Ice Block. So unless it comes to fatigue, if the only way to kill someone with Ice Block up in 1 turn is if they draw a card and are fatigued and the damage kills them.
I understand, but at some point he's gonna have to trigger that ice block. I'm just saying that he definitely wants to have lethal on the board before he takes him down. But I mean, I don't know. I would just take him to 18, pass the turn, and you
If
still
you
got
think
more.
about it, the only way this deck can win is getting lower than 20 health because 2 Mountain Giants is a lot, but you can deal with that. Rag is a lot, but you can still deal with that. It's once you start getting the Molten Giants out too that you have problems. So, like, and this deck doesn't have Pyroblast, so it actually doesn't have a way to create lethal damage without playing the Molten Giants. So I think Monk could actually afford to take as long as he wants.
True. I guess that's with me not knowing the deck list. I just always assume, and then Pyroblast, but you're right.
Yeah.
A deck lacking Pyroblast with not having that knockout blow definitely is a.
Well, I mean, like, I guess against the mage, you would assume that they have Pyro, but because I know this deck, then I actually just know they doesn't have it. That's the thing about new decks is it's hard to play against them because you don't know what's in them. Oh, the polymorph top deck. I don't know if he actually uses that though, because there's a high chance his druid deck has Ragnarok in it.
True, and yet again, lacking Pyroblast equals no easy way to deal with it without Polymorph.
I think he should actually just poly and play Molten Giant though.
And
I'd
that's
toss.
exactly what he does.
Yeah,
You have that.
I'd toss the mirror image just for like shits and giggles too.
I guess it doesn't hurt. You have that extra mana now. It's not going to actually
I
really.
mean, it's not gonna be better later on.
Exactly. No, I totally agree.
Like if he has a way to kill it, you're gonna want to use it right now. I'm not sure why he wouldn't play it right now. I can't really think of a good reason to save it for later. Like, because if you have Mirror Image right now, he's almost forced to use Starfall for the AOE unless he has like a Wrath follow up. Whereas if you don't play Mirror Image, he can just Starfall and then run the Sheep and the 2/3 into it to finish it off.
True. And with this being like a key component to his win, you'd want to protect that.
This turn is critical, so yeah, I think I would have just played it.
Exactly, because now you just offered him 3 damage for free on one of his win conditions, and he has no other win condition in his hand.
Yeah. See, now that he's gonna run those guys in and play Starfall on it.
Okay. The anticipation waiting, like, is it the Starfall? There we go.
Yeah. I mean, he's drawn most of his deck. It's almost certain that he has one by now. Yeah, I would have definitely played the Mirror Image there. I think that was a blunder. I
Absolutely.
don't I don't know why else he like. When would it have been better than right there?
Exactly. Now, what he plays mirror image against a board? I mean, like, yeah, it doesn't help him. It's now just something that costs 1 mana that whenever he casts it, it's not going to be any more useful. And Muck might as well use his hero power here and just hit him again. I mean, do you feel he's not swinging here because he's afraid of another Molten Giant?
Um, I think probably. I'm not sure exactly. He's probably scared of, well, because like if he had the other Molten Giant, he could play it anyway. I think that was actually just a misplay. He
Yeah,
might have been scared of like Molten Giant plus Blizzard if he got him any lower.
and whenever you can feel comfortable enough to use the lure for more card draw, that is such a
I mean, if I was Monk, I would think I'm in pretty good shape now that I dealt with the Molten Giant, and I would probably just put on the Jets, and just go try to burn the health down as fast as possible from now on.
exactly. There's no reason not to. In fact, the longer you wait, the worse stuff can happen.
Yeah, especially because Curi's hand is kind of dwindling down, and I think face twisting that might have been a mistake as well. That's kind of desperate. I think I'm almost positive that Monk is going to play something even bigger than that Ancient of Lore right now.
Especially since he just picked up 2 cards. He has lots of options, but at the same time frame, even if he can just play something that can deal with those 2 taunts, so he can do 8 damage directly, is also a very smooth play.
I mean, this play right here is almost the exact same thing it's almost the exact same play as before with the Molten Giant, except they're protecting a 5/5 instead of an 8/8. So I don't see the reasoning behind playing them now if you weren't going to play them before.
I honestly feel they're kind of like the only way to try and make the Nat Pagel pay off, as we talked about before. It's such a high variance card that needs like a minimum of 3 or 4 turns surviving to actually pay off. So
I highly doubt that even if there were no taunts there, that Kevin would actually swing at the Nat Pagel at all. If he did anything but go for the face, I'd be very surprised. Because you want to pop that ice block as fast as possible once you get them this low. Because it's a race.
absolutely. Okay, and then you're gonna cast another spell, and the Pyro's gonna remove those blockers. It's gonna be beautiful.
I'm not sure what he's going to do. I mean, he could just passive one taunt, run the 5/4 into the other one, and then trade the 3/3 or the 3/2 for the 5/3. Oops. Do you know if it's a best of 3 or best of 5?
Yeah, I was just doing best of 3, but if they want to do best of 5, it doesn't matter. Whatever they want.
I think best of 5 is more suiting for finals.
All right, we'll do best of 5 then. Yeah, since this is obviously the ultimate game, you're right.
So I was on Skype talking to Curi and I missed what happened here.
Well, he basically unfroze the 5/5 so he could kill the Curi's Molten Giant.
Curi drew the second Molten Giant, looks like.
Yes, he did, but Monk
I
was
think
able to
Curi's
handle
done.
it.
Curi no longer has any ways to win the game. All of the Giants are dead, aren't they?
Yes. No,
And if he draws it,
I think there's one Mountain Giant left.
if he draws it, he won't even be able to play it though because he has not enough cards in his hand.
Exactly. So
It'll cost like.
and this is why, in one sense, that whole Alex Straza Pyroblast thing is really powerful, because even when you get into this scenario, you still have a way to turn it around. Here, if I don't, there you go. There's that last giant. How do you play it? Like
But he'll be able to play it next turn, hopefully on an empty field. If that Doomsayer goes off.
I think it
So
has to.
it's gonna be the last hurrah, and you know it might work because the Druid has used Starfall, and I'm pretty sure Monk only runs one Starfall in his deck. In fact, I know that. So
Wow.
his options to remove it are few and far between, and he's run out of cards in his deck almost. So this last Mountain Giant may actually be able to carry the game.
Oh my God. Oh wow, so beautiful. Well, you kind of have. I mean, like, do you?
You have to play the Mountain Giant.
Yeah.
And if you're a Monk, I think you just sacrifice your minions. Because he knows that that's the only giant left in the deck.
The Monk's just looking for the most efficient way to get at this giant.
I mean, I wouldn't. If it was me, I would just say to myself, okay, that's his last win condition. I'll just kill it, and then I'll beat him down eventually. Because he's not going to die to fatigue anytime soon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, unless there's a way in his hand to do an additional 3 damage, so you throw the Pyromancer, do that 3 damage, kill Nat Pagle, and hit him for 5 or something. Like, other than that,
I would just keep Nat Pagle alive, honestly. It'll make him die to fatigue faster.
oh my God, that's hilarious. I love it.
And this is what I mean about Nat Pagle. Like, why most good players, when they see Nat Pagle, they'll just ignore it. Okay, so since he has the taunt, he might just go for the face because the Mountain Giant's gonna have to hit them anyway. So this is a good way to win the game next turn.
True, especially since if you don't do it, then you don't trigger the ice block this turn. Makes sense.
So I think what he does is he plays Ice Block, Fireball. Ooh, the Black Knight is good here. So obviously you go Ice Block plus Black Knight on the 6/4, attack the 4/4, and then next turn you Fireball the other minion. And then pray that he goes AFK and you win.
There we go.
I don't think Kevin used Claw yet. I don't even know what's left in his hand. I think he has Baron Geddon.
Oh, there you go. Wow, he's actually killing that. I was gonna trigger it with his attack. Ouch. The trolling.
I don't think there's any way for him to win. Even if he, like, because he can't raise his HP, he's going to die to the passive.
True, yeah, I know. Even if he freezes and fireballs, he's still up 22 health. I mean, and there's no way that last card does that. So this is...
That's game one. That was a long game. Hopefully we see some faster ones.
Well, I think it was well played, though. So I don't mind a long battle of wits if it's going to be good the whole way. And I felt it was good the whole way.
More spam. Wait, this guy's... Oh, I have to bring out the banhammer. This guy's posting porn in your chat again.
Thanks, Kisstafer. Go get him.
Should I ban him or time him out?
Ban him.
Boom, bitch.
Yeah, normally I have a second monitor, but like right now, I just like got back from family, so like I don't have my rig completely set up yet. And I had no idea it was gonna take so much time just talking to everyone to try and like get everyone on the same page. So, but I'm sure next week's Heart Stats tournament's gonna be a lot better, seeing as I've learned a lot of lessons.
Let's see, what deck's he gonna go for next?
It looks like he's going. I mean, I see his finger on the Druid. I think he's going for
Druid Mirror?
the Druid Mirror. Yeah. So
it's funny how he lost with the mage. That mage deck is supposed to beat Druid.
And you actually said that you wanted a short game. I think Druid. It's going to be another nail biter.
I actually don't think so. The Druid Mirror, with this, especially with these decks that they're playing, they tend to be like you beat each other down because they're not using Ancients of War and stuff like that. They don't have Rag. They're using Strife Crow's deck where it's like 2 Defender of Argus. And as soon as one player gets the advantage, they just start beating each other up.
Oh, wow.
He's going to go for the Warlock Giants again.
And Warlock Giants is a really beautiful build.
I don't know about the Tinkmaster. Because he knows that Monk only has Ancient of Lore as like his biggest minion. Or like Cenarius, rather, I guess. But there's no Ancients of War. So the biggest taunt minion is like a Druid of the Claw. I don't know if it's worth it to bring Tinkmaster against that.
Yeah, you have a good point. I think maybe the gamble is you can turn...
Dropping a Hellfire kind of makes sense. Because...
Yeah, Hellfire isn't going to be necessary versus a Druid.
I'd probably... well, I don't know what I would do.
Then you put it back. So you drop it to put it back. That's the high level strats there.
I haven't played too much of this Giant Warlock deck, mainly because it's so bad against Mage. But it is pretty good against certain things.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know about running 2 Siphon Souls and Tinkmaster. I think that's a bit too much.
No, you're right. That's so much removal. I mean, the only thing I could say is maybe
if he was using like two Ancients of War and Ragnaros, I'd say sure, take all the removal you can get. But like we know what type of deck Monk is using.
But maybe that's the thing. Maybe like Curi is like doing the meta game, like assuming like, all right, so I know what Monk is playing, and Monk knows I know what he's playing, so he's going to maybe do something different. You get what I'm saying? So he might be trying to do this in particular to
Well, the thing with
counter.
the Druid deck is there's not really a good counter to it. It's just like a solid all-around deck. I think the best counter would probably be that like rogue deck that Puffin was using earlier, where you just like Leroy Jenkins them and like Black Knight their taunt minions.
Yeah, I've had some fun using Puffin's variation or that just generic cold blood Leroy Jenkins insano damage stuff. It's fun. I mean, if you get the right hand, you just win turn 5. You know?
With the Druid deck?
No, with the rogue.
Oh, okay. It's the same thing for the Druid though. Like if you get Innervate Druid of the Claw, you pretty much auto win that too. I want to see these guys use a warrior deck. I'm actually a big fan of these new one-turn kill warrior decks that people are playing. I think they're really cool.
They definitely have, and there's lots of ways to build them too. Like generally, it's like you got your Garrosh, you got your Molten Giants, you have your Warsong Commanders. Toss in a couple of
Oh god.
Brewmasters, and just fun times.
Curi's chat's getting invaded by Trump viewers.
So Trump viewers are intentionally coming here, like talk crap.
No, they're just going into Curi's chat just to spam it with the word Trump. Holy shit. He has 1,000 viewers now in like the span of 10 seconds.
Wow.
Wow, holy crap. He did that to my stream a little bit ago, and I got like 5K viewers randomly one day. I think if I'm Curi, I would just run a regular board control deck that has Black Knight and like a silence in it. So you can walk past the taunt. I don't think you need to go with these like super special decks.
So did I start yet? My view of their stream just freeze, or are they talking? Like what's going on?
No,
Diamond,
he's just sitting there. I think he's thinking.
oh, okay. I was like wondering a second, like, because I had to respond to a Skype.
I think he's overwhelmed by the amount of people in his chat.
Talking about like getting an idea later. It's like trying to coordinate this and jumping out of screens.
Oh my god. I'm trying to ban so many people from his chat because they're posting porn.
What is down with the porn?
I don't know, man.
Like they know that like Twitch doesn't even like that stuff. Do they not want people to stream? Is that their thing?
I don't know. I'm doing a pretty good job of banning people though. I got like that mouse micro. Oh, one more. Ban. This guy. Ban. I love banning people. It's my favorite thing to do.
Oh shit, I totally forgot. I have my chat up, so why am I actually going to it again? There.
I think they're going into game 2. Looks like he went for the giant mage or the giant warlock after all. Everyone's posting the same porn link. I don't get it. It's like they're all from the same place. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about that on the stream. I'll just keep my band hammer handy.
It's on. And I think you got the hand you. I mean, like, I don't know if you'd want to have both of those in the hand, but
I think at least one of them is good.
yeah, at least one of them would be good. I don't know if you want both. So I think Curi's taking a little bit of a gamble there. Did yours freeze up a bit? Like, I think maybe his like stream is like lagging or something, or am I lagging? Oh, there we go. Gotta love any time you turn one innervate, man. It's so fun. Are we still on a call?
Yeah, I'm just sorry. I was focusing on banning people. I think if he waits to use Hellfire on turn 4, he's gonna take a lot of damage.
True. So are you saying you should play Doomsayer here? And
It's
pray
either
he can't take it?
if he plays Doomsayer, the Druid will kill it, but then at least he'll be like healing himself for 7 damage. So and then it'll set him up to use Hellfire next turn.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. Especially because you don't want to Tink Master and risk having a 5/5 on the board and just making it even worse. Shadow Bolt effectively does nothing.
So he ended up just passing his turn.
Wow.
I think that was super risky. Now you have to play the Mountain Giant, but you're in this awkward position where you want to get the Mountain Giant and the Hellfire off on the same turn, but not enough mana to do both. I definitely think playing the Doomsayer last turn was the right move.
Yeah. I don't really see a way. I mean, like
you want to get low on health with this deck, but not that low that fast. Because you can just get overrun, especially because the Druid got such a good start.
I mean, yeah, the downside of, yep, you're right. You had to play the Mountain Giant now, but it seems so, in a sense, even so risky because you can, at this point as a Druid, you can just race. You know what I'm saying? You can just be like, all right, fine, I'll do 7 more damage plus whatever's in my hand and just burn you.
I think he should have just played the Doomsayer because now he's going to have this Mountain Giant out. And he's pretty much forced to use Hellfire, so he's going to do some of the Druid's work for him by dealing damage to the Giant. I think that if the Druid has Defender of Argus, you just play that and then go for the face. I'm expecting some more like super long turns out of these guys because they don't want to make any mistakes.
And also, I think part of it is the fact that they do know each other so well, and no one wants to lose, especially since this is the first one. So people are gonna be talking about it maybe a little bit more. And it's like, come on, you want to win the first one. You also don't want to lose to your friend. You know, there's a lot on the
Yeah.
line here. But it's always a good day when you and your friend end up first and second in a tournament. I mean, you can't really expect to do better.
I think Curi is pretty screwed though. He's basically at this point relying on drawing Sun Furry Protector. Because there's no way to keep himself from just falling over and dying. He's gonna take what, like 7 damage to the face just from what's on the board?
Exactly, and I think that's the way that this should be played. I mean, since his power hurts himself, just take it out of the game. You know, just
I mean,
run right over him.
I would just take the hit. Like if I was a druid, I'd be like, okay, deal 8 damage to me. I'm gonna deal 8 right back to you, and I have double the HP you do, so let's race. Like that's what I would be like.
I mean, the only thing is maybe if he is worried about the Defender of Argus or some variation of a block, you know?
I would deal with that. Like if it was me, I would just deal with that. Like I'd cross that bridge when I come to it, type of thing. Because the opportunity to deal like a crap load of damage right now is just so big. Curious saying he went to the washroom in the span of this turn, and Monk still hasn't moved. Oh my god, it took him that long to naturalize that? What the hell? The thing about this is not only is he going to kill that giant, he's going to make Curi overdraw a card. He's going to discard something right now. I don't know why it took that long for him to use naturalize.
Yeah, especially when it was the obvious play.
What did he use discard? I missed it. I didn't see what he got rid of. That's kind of troll how he just slow rolled that naturalize like for like 10 minutes on the most obvious play. So right now, Curi
Just loses.
pretty much has to play the Molten Giant and Defender of Argus with it. Anything else, and he's risking dying next turn. He can't even play Hellfire anymore. It's like a dead card because he's just going to commit suicide.
Yeah, you're right. That's the only play that even gets him ahead. I mean, it's just so bad, his position.
He's not even playing the taunt. That's a risk. He's hoping that if the Druid doesn't have lethal right now, he's hoping to win the game in like within the next 2 turns with the Giants and Defender of Argus.
Wow. That is so risky. That is one of those plays where it's like you're just rolling the dice.
Well, it's not that risky now that I think about it more, because the chances of a Druid doing 7 damage from hand on turn 5 aren't actually very high. I think it's actually impossible.
Wow. So the druid does not have any way to do additional damage here. So the question is, will the Defender of Argus play be enough?
If he has a single swipe in his hand, it's over, no matter what.
And he hasn't
He just
played a
has
swipe
to.
yet,
He has
so
to go Defender of Argus.
yeah, there's absolutely no choice here.
I think I would just Defender of Argus, and then next turn go Sylvanas plus Sun Fury Protector. Or he might even play the Sun Fury Protector this turn on the Defender of Argus, so that he has 3 taunts.
Wow, that's it, and that is the play he did to get that extra taunt out.
If he has no swipe, Curi could actually win this game. The 3/3 is dead for sure, but the 5/11 and the 9/9, I don't think there's any way to kill. So he's going to come out next turn with 14, 16, 19 damage.
And that's one of the things that makes Hearthstone just a really fun game to watch, where you're hanging on by a prayer, and yet there's still an opportunity. I mean, I don't know what that was supposed to do. Like, just draw a card, basically? Trying to draw into the swipe?
Yeah, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. I probably would have opted to deal the damage instead of the. How much damage can you do? 13, 15. He can deal 18 damage this turn, so he's 2 off of lethal.
No, exactly.
But you know,
Didn't
if he didn't have swipe last turn, he probably doesn't have it this turn either. So I would actually just do the Hellfire to get rid of these 2/1s.
Wow.
Well, actually no, because then you kill your own minions, so that wouldn't. I don't know. I think he should have probably dropped Hellfire for the against Druid matchup.
Yeah, that's what I was saying previously, that, like, Hellfire, there's not much in the Druid that it actually kills.
I think what he does here is he Tink Masters his 2/3 to hope for the 5/5, and that will give him lethal.
Yes.
And then you can do that and Hellfire. And it's 50-50 chance for lethal right now.
I think that is the play. I completely agree. I mean, it's either
50,
that or
50.
you lose anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. His chat's pretty much saying the exact same thing, too. Oh, you know what? If he uses the Tink Master, the Devilsaur has summoning sickness, so it won't be able to attack. So I think he has to just draw a card and hope for Soulfire.
But then putting yourself down to 2, you lose to so much more.
You know, he actually already used his only Soulfire. I think he just loses. I think, yeah, you just Shadow Bolt the 2/4, killed one of the 2/1s with your 2/3, and hit him in the face with everything else. And then hope that he can't kill you.
So right now he is debating himself. Does he want to actually kill one of the 2-1s or not? And he is.
I would use the Tinkmaster on my guy though.
Right, you can do that after you kill that, and that would totally be awesome.
Let's see top deck swipe.
Oh my god, if he top deck swipe, it's over anyway. There you go. Boom. Wow. This match was hard fought the whole way, and now he's just drawing, hoping with hope. Hope among hope.
I think Curi actually wins.
I think Curi wins here too. Like, you have to remove the taunt, and then you still have to do 4 damage, and you can only guarantee 2. So.
Yeah, and his silence would take 4 mana, so he wouldn't be able to deal damage. So even if he has silence for the taunt, he can't deal lethal damage. The only thing that would do it for him right now is swipe. Maybe he has Keeper of the Grove and he can trade off minions or something. I don't even know.
I mean, even if you have Keeper of the Grove, the mana cost of Keeper of the Grove keeps you from being able to do 4, having to play it.
He's dead. He actually just can't win. Oh, Tinkmaster Overspark. That was. Did he just top deck that?
No, it's coming from the second card.
He just won though, because he has 2 mana. He has lethal now. He slow rolled the fuck out of that.
Really? Like, that's 3. He still needs 1 more.
Wait, why didn't he just pass it? Oh no, because the novice is sleeping. I didn't see that.
Exactly. Yeah, the novice is sleeping, so he can't kill. He can only do 3. That's as close as it gets.
Wow.
Oh my god. Wow.
I don't know how Monk lost that after he naturalized the first giant. He was in like a commanding position.
I completely agreed. I thought he was going to win it too, because he was up so huge. It was like 28 to like 12 or whatever. But that Defender of Argus really just made it. Yeah, exactly. As Curi said, Molten Argus. Boom, done. Got me down to 11. Too bad. Well, it looks like the championship match is actually going to be just straight up insane.
Well, we told them it's best of 5, right? So that was only 2 games. They've traded 1-1.
No, exactly, and that's my point. Like, obviously, if they've already traded, so now it's back in a sense to being a best of 3. But that's what you want for the championship match. You want it to be a slugfest, and it looks like we're gonna be seeing the Murloc deck here. And this is actually the first Murloc deck we've seen in the competition, even though Murloc is very popular on the ladder. In all honesty, I think it's kind of a little overrated. I don't find it that hard to kill it, personally. Once you see the first Murloc come out, you know you're playing against it. And if you're playing against any deck with board clear, you just know to wait for the right opportunity to wipe it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I actually think that Warlock is weaker than the just regular Warlock Rush deck. because the Murlocs themselves are so susceptible until you get the War Leader out. And if they kill the War Leader, like, it's just GG, because all the other Murlocs are pretty crap without him.
No, exactly. It's either you either need War Leader or you needed the thing that boosts its health.
The only time I ever lose to Murlocs is if they get the War Leader off and I can't kill it. Or if they like randomly get like War Leader and the guy who buffs their health off in the same turn. And then everything turns into like a 5/5. Like if your deck has any anti-aggro tools, like Wild Pyro completely craps on Murloc. Because most of them have 1 health unless they get buffed.
So right now it's looking like Freshka came in third, most likely based on the tiebreakers. So right now we're just playing for first or second.
I think changing decks is definitely a wise choice though. Because while the Giant Warlock is good against some things, it definitely has some glaring weaknesses. And if he runs that into game 3, like Kevin could just take out a mage, for example, and just run him over.
Absolutely, and generally
I
he
don't.
has been showing it. But I think, as you said, I think straight up aggro Warlock would be better than doing this Murloc thing. Murloc is so high risk, high reward that.
Yeah, I think this is like a super metagamey option where he's like trying to. He's basically wagering that Monk is going to try to counter Giants and then get thrown off by the Murloc switch. But I think Monk is smart enough to realize that he's not going to run the same deck twice in a row. But I think Monk will be preparing for the regular board control Warlock. But the same things that deal with the board control Warlock deal with Murlocs even better. So I don't know if this is the best choice.
No, I completely agree. I think the Murloc. I'm not expecting much out of it. I mean, it's not a terrible deck, and I know the benefit of it on ladder is it's either going to win or lose really quickly, so it enables you to play games at a high win rate really fast, and that's a benefit, right? Like, in fact, I'm thinking, when the ladder resets, I might run some games with it because it's not bad for that. But in terms of a competition, I mean, any high-level player, once you see the first Murloc come down, you know exactly what you're fighting, and you know exactly how to beat it if you have those kinds of options in your deck. So to me, it seems like this you're kind of like
If
begging your opponent to beat you when you play it. You know what I'm saying?
if if Monk gets tricked and goes like Mage or something, he could die because mages all their AoE options got nerfed to be 1 mana more. So it's hard for them to survive against like Murlocky stuff, I guess. But so Curi is a good player and he knows what he's doing. So if he thinks Murloc is the best way to go right now, like you have to just trust him. But I do have some reservations about whether it wouldn't be better to just run the regular Warlock deck.
Oh, true. I understand that Murloc. It is a metagame choice, and I'm not knocking Curi as a player by far. He's achieved more than I've achieved, and he's a way more solid player than me. So I'm not here trying to knock him as a player. I mean, he went through the tournament pretty much flawless. I didn't see him drop a game, so except some Monk right now. And they play against each other, so it makes sense.
I'm kind of curious what deck Monk's going to bring out.
I was like, Monk's still working, so Monk's still like trying to work on flash changes there too.
I'm gonna predict Monk brings out. What's he gonna bring out? He used Druid already. I'm gonna predict he just goes Warlock. I think we're just gonna see a Warlock versus Warlock game. Because Warlock also runs over Giant Warlock. I'd be very surprised.
If that's the case, if it's Murloc, that would be just insane. Murloc
I don't.
for insanity.
I don't think it'll be Murloc. I think he'll be the regular board control Warlock. But if he gets baited to going Mage, I'll be very surprised. Yeah, this is what I expected. I think we're gonna see like the board control Warlock deck versus Murloc.
If that's the case, then board control should win this.
Yeah, I think it definitely has the edge. But you never know. We'll see how the cards play out.
Of course, and the board control getting the coin does help get out options later. So this is actually going pretty.
Oh, it would be funny if he actually went Giant Warlock too. I think it would be genius if Monk went Giant Warlock. But I think he'll probably be playing the regular one. Yeah. Him going regular Warlock, I think, is the safest option. Because you can run over the Giant Warlock, without making it too much of like a hard counter that if he swapped would die to anything else.
It seems like a regular aggro there. The fact that he was thinking about coining out probably like a void.
I think Curi has already lost this game.
There you go, the coined out Void Walker. That's pretty obnoxious.
Curi is like, you want to and he knows he's lost. He's gonna draw a card here, almost guaranteed. It's all his only play.
Wow.
So this game has been decided already. You heard it here first.
No, I really agree.
Like, what's he supposed to do? Like, Knife Juggler, Murloc.
Pray.
Like, what do you do here?
And the funny thing is, as weird as the deck is, we're not even going to get to see the ultimate weirdness, and it's not going to matter either.
I think playing that guy is the right choice. Because then if he kills it with like the 3-2, you can at least use Mortal Coil next turn.
Oh, I would not use the Murloc Tidecaller there. He's generally better than the other Murloc.
I think he had to, because the other one's a 1/1, and we get killed by the Novice Engineer.
You got a point.
Covering the screen with the chat window. This game was decided on turn 2. It's like, aggro versus aggro is very snowbally. It's pretty much whoever gets control in the first couple turns wins the game, because it just goes out of control. Because neither of these guys will have AoE in their deck. So once they lose board control, there's no way to regain it.
Wow, and then that power overwhelming play. The sickness.
I think he just buffs the 1/1 and then play Mortal Coil on the Voidwalker after attacking it. It's like the only choice he has right now. And then next turn, Monk's gonna play like Defender of Argus and just go to alter the face, and it's gonna get really ugly.
I love how Monk is so obviously winning and yet complaining the whole time. Like,
This is the part where they both brag about how good each other's hands were. Oh, I know you got the better hand. No, you got the better hand.
although Monk obviously did have the better hand. However, I mean, it went from hopeless to slightly not completely hopeless.
I think that Curi could actually fathomably stage a comeback here, though, with this War Leader that's coming out. Because Monk doesn't really have any good ways to deal with these minions that are in front of him, other than just going 1-for-1. That said, I think it was a mistake. Oh, he's a Shadow Flame. Never mind. That makes sense. I was going to say, if you have card advantage, you generally want to trade minions off because it favors you when you have more cards to trade them. Because eventually your enemy will just run out. But because he had Shadow Flame, that was like devastating to Curi.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you have to just play Sylvanas here.
Yep, Sylvanas and Prey, absolutely. There's
I mean,
no other option.
he could do the War Leader and buff it with the Cold Light, and that wouldn't actually be that bad. That'd be like a really strong play too.
True,
But
especially because it
Sylvanas,
is the War Leader. It is the thing you want down. Like, it's the Murloc you want surviving more than almost any other. But at the same time frame, Sylvanas is... It can conceivably change the game since there's no way that it's easily dealt with. And if there is a Soulfire there, like, that's obviously Soulfire. Play that.
I kind of like this play better though, actually, because if he has a Soulfire, he'll use it right now on the War Leader, and then that means it sets up next turn. The Sylvanas will be much more effective because he just got baited into emptying his hand, and he now no longer has removal for Sylvanas.
Wow.
So as long as Curi doesn't die, his next turn will be pretty good.
That is true. He did have to spend his whole hand on that. I mean, we can't run back and see what would have happened the other way. I'm just saying, I think it could have also worked with Sylvanas, but I definitely agree. There is a benefit to the fact that...
I think I like the choice not to play the 2-mana drop guy, because then he could trade off his minions into the 2/1 when Curi wants to steal something.
Absolutely. Yeah, the problem of playing the Tricolor is the fact that you could run more stuff into it.
That said, I think Kevin Dong is too much of an HP lead to lose right now.
Well, with Sylvanas and Soulfire, I mean, that's 9 damage right there. I mean, depending on what else is in this deck.
He has no choice but to trade, though. Like, you have to just play Murlocs and then Soulfire the Knife Juggler and attack the 3/4 with Sylvanas.
Oh, that really sucks.
That way, it prevents lethal next turn, and he can start taking board control back next turn. If he draws a Soulfire, it won't matter, though. If I'm Kevin, I think I just kill the War Leader with the Harvest Golem.
I there's a case to be made for just doing the 5
Oh,
damage.
never
So.
mind. Game's over. Yeah, the game's over because you got the Defender of Argus.
Yeah, there you go. And by the way, I think you're like 3 seconds ahead of me again because I just saw a Defender of Argus now. But regardless, like yeah, like that was what I was gonna go for anyway. Even if I didn't have that, I probably would have still just, even without the Defender of Argus, I would have probably left him at like the 1 HP and make him deal with the board.
So now he's going Druid, I think. I would not be surprised to see Monk switch into the Giant Warlock. I think that would be pretty smart too. Because you have to predict the switch to Druid after losing to Warlock.
And the question is, if he does go Mountain, how much does he have to change on his Druid deck to make it work versus that build, since Druid isn't notoriously well for killing giants. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, because not Innervate, but Naturalize would help a lot against Giant Warlock, but it wouldn't help that much against the, it would actually be bad against the other Warlock, the regular one.
Yeah, regular.
So it's a risk. So it's a risk to put that in the deck.
Do you think instead could you put big game hunters? Because then that's less of a risk. Because at least big game hunters isn't like totally crappy versus little guys. Would you do that?
You could. I think I would put big game in before Naturalize against the Warlock. I think he's about to walk a Druid into a Giant Warlock, though. I don't think Monk's gonna keep the same deck. In these side deck formats, it's almost a mistake to keep the deck the same because then you're setting yourself up to be countered.
True, but
so you almost have to.
But there is the opposite of, obviously everyone has played as if the person has changed it so far. So there is something to be said to just like using Bart's method of rock, paper, scissors. Good old rock. Keep going rock. You know what I'm saying? Because then when your opponent switches to counter what you're doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It wouldn't be too much of a risk to just put one big game hunter in, though.
No, absolutely. I mean, big game hunters is, I mean, it's not optimal if you can't also kill something with it, but it's not like a terrible card if you don't get it, especially if what you're fighting is like a Murloc or something that you can just kill with it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're not getting a 2-for-1 out of it, which would be awesome, but at least you're still going to get something out of it.
I'm just waiting to see what deck Monk brings. I'm just gonna, if it was me, I would guess that he's gonna play Giant Warlock.
But if you think you're going to play a giant, what do you cut? Do you cut the one Earthen Ring Farseer then? Or do you cut the Wild Pyromancer? Because the Wild Pyromancer is very powerful in terms of what it's able to do, the spells,
I
and
wouldn't.
clearing.
I wouldn't cut anything that's too vital against aggro Warlock. I would probably cut the Black Knight because against Warlock, the Black Knight isn't that great anyway. But then again, against Giant Warlock, the Black Knight's really good. So you wouldn't be really improving the deck that much.
I was thinking the easiest thing to cut would seem to be the Earthen Ring Farseer, because like the +3 health is helpful, but it doesn't really make or break, whereas getting off a big game hunter will obviously mean a lot more if it actually is giant.
Yeah. I don't know what you'd cut. I think you're probably right. Something like that. Something neutral. Everything else is pretty important in the against aggro matchup. Alright, I want to see if I'm right, if he gets the giant warlock.
And this is it.
Well,
This is the
we'll know
first.
by, like, if he plays no minion by turn 2, we'll know that he's playing we'll know he's playing giant warlock.
And this is it. Monk can put this away right here, so Curi really needs to step it up and represent.
I think keeping Keeper of the Grove is a good decision because against aggro, it's really helpful to coin that out and kill a 2-drop for free when going second. When going first, it's a bit more risky unless you have Innervate in your hand.
And Keeper Grove in of itself is just a solid card, and that hand is a very nice hand to have. Pyromancers, Harvest Golem, Keeper of the Grove, it gives you lots of options. You got to be feeling happy when you're looking at it.
Yeah, this hand is good because against aggro, he'll have some early stuff to get in the way, and it'll save him some time. And against the giants, he has early minions to put on pressure. So his hand is really good right now. I'm thinking it's definitely giant warlock by the way he just tapped there.
Remember, I'm like 5 seconds behind you for whatever reason. I guess it's like a wait and see issue between where I'm located and when you're located.
Okay, if it's actually that big of a difference, I'll try to delay myself a little bit.
Thanks, man. And yeah, the way he tapped there, obviously that did scream of probably giants or just a really shit hand. We got to see if he plays something here. Right here is when we're gonna know 100%. If he plays nothing, then obviously it's giants.
I'm absolutely positive he's doing giant.
Wow.
He's probably hoping to Hellfire next turn.
So then, if that's the case, is playing the Harvest Golem the right move, knowing that the first one just dies anyway, or do you just Novice Engineer to get a card up? Oh, apparently he is going to Harvest Golem, even with the risk of the Hellfire. That's I think that's a risk.
I think that's what Curi should have done in that other game when Curi was playing giant warlock against Monk. They had like almost a mirror opening in that other game when it was like switched around when Curi was playing warlock and Kevin was playing druid.
Mm-hmm.
And Curi decided to not play Hellfire, and then it kind of costed him. But he ended up winning that game anyway, though. But I still think it's the right move to use Hellfire in turn 4 over the giant. He's at 10 health already on turn 5. I don't see Monk winning this one. And I said that about the other game with the giant warlock too, but this is like so much health advantage on turn 5.
True. However, that taunt wall is definitely create a little bit of a problem because you can't finish it yet until he deals with that taunt.
Well, next turn he can swing with the Druid of the Claw and then swipe something else, and the 1 damage will finish it off.
No, I definitely agree that swiping is...
So the obvious play is swiping the giant, attack the... Wait. Well, this is actually good too. This might be better. Because it gets more direct damage, and it sets him up next.
Starfall. Yeah, you Starfall. Yeah, you Starfall the taunt, and then you hit for 6, and then basically.
Yeah, so he has lethal next turn.
Yep. And it forces him to actually deal with the threats on the board, so the giant is less of a threat by extension.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why that play becomes even better is with a swipe in the hand. I mean, you pretty much you've won unless they can heal somehow, and warlocks tend not to heal, so it kind of doesn't matter unless they do 27 damage this turn. So it's going to be an ace match.
Man, that was bad.
Might have been bad, but it means good games for us. So I'm happy.
What's Monk? Okay, so Curi's a druid right now, and he's gone through Warlock and Mage already. So I'm guessing we're gonna see either the only obvious answers he has is either Paladin, or
Paladin.
Priest.
I would say rogue or paladin most likely. That's what I've been saying. I mean, I'm sorry, rogue or yeah.
I think Control Paladin does do very, very well against Control Druid because of equality.
Exactly. You have so many ways to just clear all the big threats out anyway for very efficient mana and so much damage. And when you throw in like Tyrion and the other taunts, it's just not a lot of easy ways to remove them, vice versa. So it's just beautiful.
Well, the thing is, Tyrion's actually not even the all-star of that matchup because Tyrion just gets silenced most of the time.
Well, true, but there's like, yeah, you silence him, but still you didn't actually kill him, and there's not a lot of ways to do it. Tyrion's nice. But yes, the All-Star is the Equalities, the Consecrates, the Pyromancer, the Avenging Wraths. It's just lots of very little things live for the Druid. And then you have all your nice weapons, beautiful times.
Yeah.
And then Peacekeeper makes their big stuff useless as well.
I mean, I think it would be arrogant of him to just assume that he's facing a Paladin, though, because Rogue is also very good against Druid, or at least it can be.
True. But isn't Rogue kind of a little dependent on if like they get the right hand so they can go off fast enough? Like, what happens if it gets to late game? Do they have many late game answers for Druid?
Well, Rogue has ways to deal with larger minions with like for cheap because they're so mana efficient. Like you can backstab SI7 agent and then like hit it with a deadly poison dagger and it'll kill like a Druid of the Claw. And it's not like card efficient, but it gives the Rogue a lot of tempo. And I think the Druid's weakness is tempo plays because all of your stuff is like has a lot of value, but it costs a lot of mana too. So it's easy to like get kind of mana screwed where you don't have enough mana to play everything you want to play, whereas the Rogue can just keep running things out and then go for the finishing blow with Leroy.
I guess the thing about Rogue, whenever I've either played a Rogue or played Rogue, I find that I usually do best against other rush decks because Rogue just rushes faster, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to like late game, it doesn't seem like that like an answer. Oh wow!
Well, you don't want to.
You
don't want to go to you don't want to go to late game. Like you want to kill them around like turn 5, 6, or 7 with Rogue, like against a Druid. It's just like you want to kill them before they start playing their Ancients of War, and if they do get an Ancient of War out, you want to kill them like the turn after they play it. Like you want to have an answer and then blow past it and kill them with like a Spellbreaker or Tinkmaster or something.
And it seems like Curi just assumed that Monk was going to go Paladin, asked him, and Monk said yes. So now the question comes is, was that?
I think that was I guess they're doing it where they're telling each other what they're going to play, but I think it was not smart of Monk to tell him because now he's putting Tankmaster in, which completely craps on Tyrion.
Exactly. That's another way to crap on him on top of the Keeper of the Groves. Yes. I definitely agree.
I actually kind of like Curi's chances with this deck against Paladin. If it's a control Paladin, that is.
Even if it's an aggro paladin, I think with the innervates, there's enough there to get past that early blitz.
Yeah, and Wild Pyros and Swipe and Baron Geddon.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, the
Keeper of
fact
the
that it's going to
Grove.
be working off of Divine Shield / other buffing those minions, I don't really feel that, Divine Shield with swipe and, there's just lots of ways to deal with it.
It's only, I think the Paladin, like, they have the advantage if they get off like a really efficient equality combo with like Pyromancer or Consecration. But if they don't, I think the Druid actually has the advantage. Especially with minions like Care and Bloodhoof. You'd have to equality, even if you equality combo that, it still comes back to life next turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stuff like Sylvanas is really annoying for Paladin because then you can't play Tyrion.
And it just makes sense, though, going into the ace match that we're going to have it come down to a little bit of massaging of the deck now. And to me, it seems like Kari's ready to go. He hasn't really touched this much, so they're just waiting on Monk, I guess.
I think Paladin actually does better against the slower Druid deck that has Ancients of War in it.
Oh, absolutely.
If I was Curi,
Especially because Ancient of Wars, thanks to equality, have like next to no value anyway. You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
if I was Curi, I would consider putting in Faceless Manipulator into my deck to steal Tyrion. Because you can do crazy shit like Faceless Tyrion and then silence it, or Faceless Tankmaster his, and then all of a sudden you're the one with the Ashbringer.
oh yeah, that is so nice.
Or even stuff like
Yeah,
like
I think Faceless Manipulator is probably going to give him more value than Baron Geddon on this.
Yeah, I think so too. And even stuff like what's it called? Azure Drake, which is just like stuff that he has to spend cards to deal with, but you get your card back. Because Paladins are so slow, you can get away with stuff like that. Or even things like that 5 mana card that draws you 3 cards or gives you 2 mana crystals.
Yeah.
Nourish, stuff like that, like really greedy shit. Like if you want to be a really greedy bastard, you do it against the Paladin. Because they're like the class that can punish you the least.
That is true. But they're not designed to punish you in general. I think they're just designed to just slowly get ahead. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of like the whole, slow and steady view of once they get board control, they tend not to lose it very easily because their stuff just is very survivable with all the Divine Shield. It's very easy for them to wipe,
I think Curi is keeping his deck really honest. I think just in case Monk goes aggro, but I think it would be safe to assume that he's going to do a more control-y Paladin. Like the Koyuki style one that was really popular on the ladder for a while. I think that's the more likely one that's going to come out. And against that one, you can get away with greedy stuff. So
That's actually one of the main decks I'm running now. I mean, I've changed a few things, but that's kind of like the build I like, and it's just really solid.
even stuff like Wild Growth is good against Paladin because you just get your late game minions out before him. The other thing that's really strong against Paladin is having not a lot of guys in the field, but the ones that you do have are really powerful, like Rag or Ysera, because equality plus whatever they use to deal AoE damage is a 2-card combo. And if you keep playing like huge threats and they're not and they have to use 2 cards to kill them each time, they're gonna run out of cards before you because they have to use 2 cards to deal with your 1.
True, and in here between Ragnaros, I mean, the only one that really is such a huge late game threat that has to be dealt with on its own is Ragnaros, and probably to an extent, Baron Geddon might have to be dealt with depending on what the board looks like.
I don't think Baron Geddon is very good in this matchup.
No, I know. I definitely agree that it's something that could be taken out, especially because by turn 7, anything the Paladin's probably going to play is not going to, like, just melt to it anyway. But
yeah, I mean, it's not bad because you never know when extra 2 damage will be helpful to finish targets off. I want to see what type of deck Monk went with to do this.
here we go.
Because he either went like the really fast route or the really slow route. I don't think we're going to see an in-between deck. It's either going to be really greedy or really fast.
So it's time to see who won the Clash of the Heroes. So is he gonna just play something to play something? Is he gonna coin a bigger threat? Like, what is he gonna do? So he is coining. Harvest Golem. Harvest Golem can be in either build yet, so we don't know what type of Paladin it is either still. I think he just kind of...
Harvest Golem is really good at eating 2-drops.
Yep.
Because you kill it and then get the 2/1 back. Luckily for the Druid, he's got that passive that can finish off the body that's left behind.
Yeah,
or what he could actually do is he could also just kill the 2/1 and then play the Earthen Ring Farseer to
and
heal.
Back up. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that would be the coolest play right there.
This play is really good though because he clears the entire board and develops a minion.
Yeah, but then he's gonna use his face to eat the 2/1 and then kill the 1/1. That's nice. The one downside is it's still vulnerable to consecration.
I think Sylvanas is a really good response here because it can kill the Yeti outright, and Sylvanas is something that.
Whoa! If you're, I haven't seen the Yeti yet. You're like 5 seconds ahead.
Oh, well, he played a Yeti.
Yay! And yeah, Sylvanas is the right. I agree. Sylvanas is a beautiful response. Because if you go.
Yeah, he's gonna have to kill the Sylvanas this turn. And the best way to do it is just basically going to be a waste of a Yeti because he's going to have to. He might go like Yeti and then Consecration though, and that wouldn't be too bad because he'd kill the Wild Pyro too, and the Harvest Golem.
Yep, and I agree. Rushing him down was definitely the smart move.
But if he doesn't have Consecration, I think the right move is to just like kill one of the smaller guys off.
No, that makes sense. And right here, I think
It's gonna go Equality Wild Pyro. I don't know if I like this play by him. I think he could have waited a turn to do that.
I mean, got in a bigger trade, especially because next turn with the card named Bloodhoof.
I think he did that. He did that prematurely. Because Curi would have almost certainly traded his 3/2 for the Yeti and then smashed face with the Sylvanas.
True, but still, having a 4/5 that comes back on a naked board, it wasn't a terrible position. Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have played the Ancient of War there. I think I maybe would have attacked.
I would have probably hit him in Wrath, and then probably. And
then you can heal the 4/5 back up with the Earthen Ring Farseer.
Yeah.
And play. This is good too, though, because he gets 2 cards out of it, and he puts pressure on his life.
True, but pressuring the life of a paladin, most paladins easily have life gain, whether it's through lay hands. I mean, like, so they're never that pressured.
Yeah.
And I mean, whenever I'm in a paladin, unless I'm at like under 10, I'm not the slightest bit worried because there's usually a minimum of 2 to 4 heal cards in the deck, you know? The thing here is that Monk needs a way to, like, at least kill one of them this turn without having to sacrifice the life of his guy. And that's what makes it very difficult here.
I think using the equality that other turn is hurting him because now he has no good way to get rid of this stuff.
Now the question is, will Curi want to go just straight up aggro, depending on what Monk does here? Will he just want to drop the Defender of Argus and go? Okay, so...
I think you might want to just attack the 4/4, heal it, heal your guy back up, or then play Defender of Argus.
That would be very nice.
That looks pretty appealing to me, but you also might want to attack the 3/3 because that
actually gets the damage out of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you kill Karen, he gets the 4 damage right back.
True, but on the flip side, you can always innervate, throw Wrath, and kill them both, and then have that board where you have 3 minions to their nothing. Well, they're 1, 4, 5, or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good option too. I think I like that play actually, to innervate the Wrath and then do the play I said. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. I also wouldn't be surprised if he just went to the face either though and played Defender of Argus and Farseer. The only thing he'd have to be scared of is the Black Knight or like Tinkmaster.
So when did Tinkmaster really start to become standard? Because it seemed like the past couple of weeks it was like sneaking up, and now it's just like a normal part of almost every deck now.
I think it was once people started playing that Koyuki Paladin a lot, people realized they needed a way to get rid of Tyrion, and Tinkmaster's like a lot of the popular classes like Druid and Paladin don't have a lot of good hard shutdown for single targets because like Naturalize isn't the greatest and like Paladin's equality is only really good for AoE. It's not like something you want to use on just one guy. So Tinkmaster is a really strong way to deal with single target minions. And the metagame became so slow that a lot of the minions that you would Tinkmaster, it's actually worth it. So I'm a little bit surprised he chose to do the Novice Engineer.
No, exactly. That's like the least aggressive way to do this.
I think I would have just attacked the Cairn and then Wrath did what you said, like Wrath the 3/3, and then because then he would have a 4/4 out right now and only one Cairn. But he's trying to like rush down the Paladin instead of deal with the minions. I think the biggest problem for Monk this game is that he used equality too early. Because he's been a turn behind like every time now. I would ignore Ragnaros, go for the face at this point. I would play Druid of the like Ancient of Lore, innervate Argus, and just hit him in the face. Because the only really good AoE option the Paladin would have would be equality, and if he does that, he can just use Baron Geddon next turn to clear the board.
No, I definitely agree.
Like, because the Paladin's AoE options hurt him as well. Playing the Novice Engineer is a little bit risky. Okay, never mind. He's got Rag. That's kind of lucky. I think you definitely play Rag now because you have a 1/3 chance to win the game outright this turn.
Exactly. Yeah, Novice Engineer, innervate Rag.
I don't know why he's doing this. I think he just innervate Rag. Oh my god, why? He could have won the game. 33% chance. Another 33% chance.
We're behind. Hold on, we're behind that turn. Wow, so he's gonna just defend Vargas here? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Well, he's probably still gonna win, but I think that's a misplay.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, the 33% chance to win the game, and technically, if you destroy his Rag, you win it anyway, too.
Like, either you kill the Rag, or you just win the game outright. And there's another chance you kill Cairn, which isn't exactly bad. So,
no,
I don't know.
Obviously, through him flooding the board, the plan was, well, now his Rag is essentially useless, and unless he has a board wipe coming, you win next turn. So he basically gave up the 66% chance of 100% win, you know what I'm saying, to a much harder lock if the Paladin can't do something significant this turn. But Curi gave him that chance.
He needs equality consecration to win. Pretty much it.
Or Quality Avenging Wrath or some variation thereof, yeah.
Yeah.
Quality Pyromancer, yeah, any of that nonsense could be nice. But yeah, it all comes down to, as we mentioned before, burning equality before it was time. And, I mean, although this was the first play that you could have, really debated if Curi made the best choice, but, all the other plays that he made were very solid. There was no, issue with how he played this, you know?
Oh, he faceless the taunt. Huh. I think he still loses anyway. He can't win. Any target Rag hits, he will still have lethal.
Yeah, exactly. I can't imagine this. Yeah, because yeah, killing the 6/7 is just gonna happen, and you just need 3 other damage to go through. So there's no way out of this. It's game
I don't
over.
know why it's taking so long. You got 0 mana and it's over.